Greetings and welcome to the Cheating Tale Workshop. For newcomers, don't forget to subscribe and share your viewing location in comments. I believed I understood betrayal until the day Vera, my wife, entered our divorce courtroom with Marcus sitting beside her. Unbeknownst to me, Marcus had been sabotaging our marriage for 8 months. However, here's an interesting point about vengeance. Sometimes it tracks you down even when you're not seeking it. The sequence of events started 3 weeks prior to the court date. In my lawyer's office, she casually dropped a bombshell that sent chills down my spine. She mentioned Vera had listed Marcus Holloway as a character witness. Can you imagine? The man who was having an affair with my wife was going to vouch for her good character in court. This woman, who throughout our marriage made me feel insufficient, uncomprehending of her desires, and overly absorbed in work, now intended to flaunt her affair partner before a judge as if it were some sort of prize. My lawyer, Patricia, noticed my expression and asked if I was all right. I wasn't fine. I hadn't been fine since the day I discovered those messages on Vera's phone 6 months prior. Messages that initially seemed innocuous but progressed into what she apparently craved from me. That night, sleep eluded me. I kept dwelling on Marcus Holloway testifying about my wife's character while fully aware of her true nature. And it was at this moment something became clear. If he was to be there, if he was to sit in that courtroom and falsely vouch for her, then perhaps his wife should know where her husband spent his afternoons. I understand your reservations. I understand the way this sounds. But consider this. I know what you're thinking. Tried to salvage my marriage, resorted to counseling, attempted personal change, exhausted every possible solution except acknowledging some individuals are essentially empty inside. Vera, emotionally detached long before physically departing, had already replaced me in all aspects that truly mattered. Discovering Alina Holloway was straightforward. A brief social media search provided the necessary information. She was a kindergarten teacher, wedded to Marcus for 12 years, mother of 2 adorable little girls. Her posts depicted family vacations, school activities, Sunday dinners, the kind of life Vera and I once shared before she deemed it insufficient. After her departure, I spent hours scrutinizing those pictures, unbeknownst to Alina. She was blissfully engrossed in teaching children and organizing birthday parties, completely oblivious that her spouse was texting my wife about hotel rooms and weekend escapes. It seemed only fair to inform her, but more importantly, grant her the ability to decide what transpired next. I sent her a message. We don't need any dramatic confrontation or accusations. I believe it's time we discuss our spouses. Within an hour, she phoned me, her voice quivering as she greeted me. Deep down, she'd suspected something was amiss but couldn't pinpoint it. The late nights, the sudden business trips, Marcus's growing distance. These were concerns that had troubled her. She merely sought validation for what her heart had already acknowledged. We met at a downtown coffee shop. Alina was smaller than anticipated, her eyes kind and brimming with tears. She presented screenshots of text messages she'd found on Marcus's iPad, messages aligning perfectly with the evidence I'd gathered from Vera's phone. For 3 hours, we sat there, exchanging details, piecing together a puzzle we'd each been trying to solve alone. The shared hotels, the deceit, the transformation they'd undergone at home. Alina shared with me about discovering an unrecognized receipt for costly lingerie. I reciprocated with my findings of credit card bills from eateries I hadn't visited. However, what moved me deeply was when Alina questioned whether they were in love, whether this could be merely intense passion rather than the disposal of all we had constructed. Despite the evidence, she was still attempting to save her marriage. This woman who had suffered betrayal as much as I had, and I recognized our shared quest, not vengeance, but justice, not annihilation, but truth. Occasionally, the only method to attain justice is by ensuring the right individuals are present in the appropriate setting at the opportune moment. That's when I informed her of the court date. That's when I told her Marcus would testify about Vera's character. And that's when Alina decided to act, hiring Patricia's associate as her attorney for her divorce case, filing papers the same week, but most significantly, requesting to be a witness in my trial. On the day of the hearing, I arrived ahead of schedule. Vera was already present with her attorney, exhibiting an air of self-assurance and tranquility. Her attire suggested she was interviewing for a job rather than dismantling a marriage. Marcus then entered. Meeting my expectations, tall, well-dressed, the embodiment of a man who had never encountered struggles in life. He nodded at Vera before settling into a seat behind her. The casualness of his demeanor, the manner in which he took possession of the space, left me feeling queasy. However, it was Alina's entrance that stirred a deeper emotion within me. Upon seeing Marcus, Alina's countenance paled, and she whispered something vital to Vera. I observed Vera turn around to find Alina seated 3 rows behind her husband's lover. Alina did not look at either of them. Instead, she opened her purse and waited as the hearing commenced routinely. Assets were distributed, custody matters were discussed, the standard procedures of divorce. Then Vera's lawyers summoned Marcus to the witness stand. He walked as if heading to his own execution. His voice remained steady despite visible hand tremors while swearing to tell the truth. He testified about Vera's kindness, intelligence, dedication, and commitment to honesty and integrity. The situation took a turn when Patricia stood up for cross-examination and asked Marcus, "Mr. Holloway, how long have you been having an affair with Mrs. Vera Thompson?" A heavy silence filled the courtroom as Marcus looked between Vera and Alina, then at the judge. He could have lied or denied it, but Alina was present and he knew she had the proof. 8 months, he softly admitted, prompting Patricia to summon Alina to the stand. Alina ascended with a subdued nobility, suggesting she had already forfeited everything precious and possessed no further losses to endure. She articulated plainly, serenely about the text messages, hotel bills, deceptions, disclosing her discovery of her husband's affection for another woman through a stranger's communication. She elaborated on the necessity of informing her daughters why their father would no longer reside with them. Subsequently, she fixated her gaze upon Vera and declared, "I wish you to comprehend that I don't harbor hate towards you. Rather, I empathize with your predicament. As one who could inflict such damage, one who could devastate 2 households for personal gratification, such an individual will never fathom the essence of genuine love." The judge granted me all I petitioned: the house, the substantial portion of assets, everything. However, the triumph was not the acquisition, but rather witnessing Vera acknowledge that actions have repercussions, that other people's lives matter, and that one cannot merely seize what one desires without facing retribution. 3 months post their divorce, Alina retained the house and primary custody of their daughters. From what has been shared, she appears to be thriving, teaching, nurturing her girls, and constructing a life devoid of Marcus and their deceitful past. Initially, they attempted to sustain their relationship, cohabiting and striving to create authenticity from their ill-gotten beginnings. However, the inherent instability of relationships founded on betrayal became evident as they parted ways 6 months later. It is speculated that Marcus struggled with the remorse of his actions' impact on his children, or perhaps Vera found it difficult to continue a relationship with someone who had proven dishonest to the person he professed to cherish most. The veracity of my actions remains uncertain, as does whether including Alina was justice or disguised retribution. What is undeniable is that truth prevailed, allowing everyone to make informed decisions based on the whole narrative, not just the selective scenes Vera and Marcus chose to present. At times, I ponder if Vera reflects on that day in court. If she recalls the instance when she discovered her lover's wife was set to testify against her. If she ponders how things could have unfolded differently had she chosen honesty from the start. Yet I'm reminded that some individuals don't learn from their errors, instead repeating them in various forms. If this narrative strikes a chord with you, hit the subscribe button and express your thoughts in the comments below. Was Alina necessary here, or could the situation have been managed differently? Keep in mind to share this video if you know someone who might benefit from hearing this story. Sometimes, truth surfaces even when we're not actively seeking it.